So the fellowship came along, and it was like, I'd like to know more about MedSync, but e-care plans. So Melinda and I both decided that MedSync was a better focus, and we could learn about the e-care plans later.
Okay.
Which she was completely correct in. And so, but you did the homework kind of like beforehand. There was pre-recorded DADs and for the session, and then you would read or listen to all those, read what you needed to. Then for the live session, it was like a luminary who was teaching that, and you could ask questions. It was super interactive. There was about 28 fellows, so I learned a lot also each one of those sessions from the fellows. And some of those learning about DIR fees, lowering that DIR exposure. Some of it was on MedSync. There was all kinds of different things that we learned through the process, but that helped me focus on my capstone. So little bit by little bit, I created our protocols for it, policies, procedures, how everything should go. I did recordings in a PowerPoint presentation so that I could use it as a training tool for other staff members.
Nice.
Okay.
And so by the end, I had basically a manual created as my capstone, how to utilize Pioneer to do MedSync program, and we tried a lot of things that didn't work, but we would just pivot and find new things. And of course, my staff, at times they're way smarter than me. Like they see it, they see the solutions. So we just need to use them. Like my cashiers were tending to bag things incorrectly. Mm-hmm. Like they were getting bagged in their number, And so I was like, okay, guys, what would make this easier? So we come up with a little colored system that if there was a hot pink card in the basket, we had the MedSync day. And then I would set those checked baskets in a different area than the regulars. And so it would just these things that would help them bag them correctly. So when they go to find it and it says MedSync Tuesday, it was truly hanging in Tuesday. But we did, there was a lot of things like that. And we would just put our heads together and say, let's try this. And if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. So little bit by just making those little changes all along the way and continue to grow and make that process smoother for everybody. And I really feel like my technicians, my cashiers, our whole staff by the end and now are so much happier because we're so proactive. We're not reactive. So we went from feeling no MedSync to 50 to 60% of all of our scripts every week are MedSync. So my inventory is low. I have high turnover rate there because I'm just ordering it or, filling it, ordering
just
it
in time.
And then it goes out the door. And just that turnover is super quick. It's also capturing all those star rating meds. So that was another part that I really focused on, was like focusing on the right to put on MedSync.
Right.
Let's capture those. Now, if you have those people who, didn't want to be on it for whatever reason, then we utilize the autofill function, not as an automatic fill, but as a reminder for us to call those star rating med people. So we would autofill anybody who's not on MedSync, any star rating meds. So it gives us that heads up, and I changed it to 5 days so that it'll give us 5 days to talk to them about getting their star rating meds. So those people don't fall through the cracks if they're not on MedSync, but they're still a Med D person taking star rating med.
Yeah.
Now I'm really curious. I think we probably need to make a trip because I want to see this manual that you built
too.
and see how it differs from our education that we provide on MedSync.
I can email it to you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yes,
So
please.
have you looked at the new MedSync prep message?
I did. I'm not certain. You'd really have to, I think it only sends the ones that are cycled for yes, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, there's a process there. You open it up, you check your yeses, you uncheck yes on PRNs that they got last month. And then it sends the prep message. And it basically walks them through and says, hey, we're prepping your meds. Here's the ones you get every month. There's your pre-checked off. Uncheck any one you don't. They click next. Yeah. It says, here's ones you get sometimes. Check off any ones you want. Clicks next. If there's any OTCs recommended by the pharmacist, so you can go in their other meds and you can put OTCs that you recommend they have, and you can write a message. It'll show there.
Or vitamin supplements.
And then it asks them, they're going to go to the doctor between now and X date, which X date's their sync date. So it says, hey, are you going to go to, you have a doctor's appointment between now and Friday or Monday.
Right.
And then it sends that information back into the pharmacy. It's not for every one of your patients, but it's designed for that patient who really doesn't want you to call them, that they really want to deal more asynchronously with people. Like me, I don't, my dentist, don't call me and tell me to call you back and confirm my appointment, right? Text to me and say, hey, reminding you about your appointment Friday, 1 to confirm, 2 to cancel. That's what I'm looking for.
Agreed.
Personally.
Me too.
And so there's a growing, that's not your older demographic. That's a growing piece of the business that you can flag and handle that way, percentage. So
do they have to have RX Local to do that?
No, it'll send an SMS. And that's one of the big, that people didn't understand that it'll do it. If they have RX Local and their notifications are turned on, it'll send it that way. But even if they have RX Local and their notifications are off, it'll still send it as a text message. So we actually detect whether or not they have notifications on their phone. And so if they don't have RX Local, it sends a text message. If they do have RX Local and the notifications off, it sends a text message. And if notifications are on, it sends RX Local.
That's awesome. And so she has 3 stores now. We're down to 3. The downtown location is where I implemented all of this, and they have a really older demographic. So for them, it's it'll be kind of rarely used. But I just moved to Melinda's main location to kind of clean up that MedSync program. And so here, I just talked to my lead tech on that yesterday about let's pick somebody we know and let's try it and see what it, see how that goes and see if they get their feedback. Did you think that was helpful or not? Or that sort of thing before we just start doing it.
Yeah. I think it'd be a thing you pull out of your toolbox. There's some people, Bob Lumanek, he's just doing it to everybody. Mm-hmm. That's the way we're going to, that's the way we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Amina too. She goes, well, you asked her.
Well, I'm talking about doing the med prep message. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if Amina's using
using it yet.
Med prep message.
So Amina gave me my name for MedSync.
You call it what now?
FastPass.
I have heard her say that. Okay. Yeah. I have heard her say that before.
I totally stole that from Amina. I told her I was stealing it, so she knows. But
she says fine. She's all about giving back, so I'm sure she's okay with that.
She's fine with it. But it's easier lingo for our patient.
That was my biggest thing is we say MedSync. We have our terminology, but they don't know. Patients don't know. Like our jargon is what's the difference between independent and community pharmacy? And again, that's our definition and how in the community in pharmacy industry we've defined it, but the patients don't know the difference between community and independent pharmacy.
So we travel and we visit pharmacies, and it's part of the way we learn how to make things better. And you as you look at those, you see different ways people are doing MedSync. Okay, so there's some that MedSync is purely about efficiency. It's purely about what you talked about, my turnovers and inventory. It's totally about that. There are then those pharmacies who've taken it the next level, and it's moved from an addition to efficiency. And it kind of like I call the efficiency piece of it, the wise man built his house on the rock, right? The next step though is where I build my house, and that house is where I start talking clinical.